Hi, this is Ecos here with Magic Mayhem Combos, and I'm here to present a deck that I've been messing around with for a while now. It's been at least 3 weeks. I stumbled upon on YouTube, I think his last name is Lebowski. He was playing Dirty Kitty. Ooh, Dirty Kitty. Made me interested. So, I decided to take my own... I found the deck list on Wizard's website, and I decided to modify it with this combo I figured out one afternoon with my group, the fastbond, zuran orb, crucible worlds combo. You know, I'm not the first one to figure this out apparently, so don't flame me if I'm not the first one. But yeah, here's how it works. You know, Dirty Kitty, if you don't know, is built all the way around the skirk, prospector, fecundity, just constantly sacrificing goblin tokens and adding 1 to your mana pool and drawing a card until you draw a grapeshot. Here you go, a grapeshot or an empty the warrens. And I'm sorry for the terrible quality of the cards. The cards are proxied because this deck is kind of expensive, and I'm not gonna buy it until I know it works. You know, foolproof, like most of my decks. But yeah. So here's how this my main combo works. With the Crucible Worlds Zuran Orb fastbond combo, you're basically working with your infinite life. You're working with infinite life, infinite spells played, and infinite mana. Infinite life because you're constantly sacrificing lands to bring them back and then sacrifice them again, and you're just constantly doing that because the zuran orb, the fastbond, gets you all your mana out. So let's say you have 3 mana out, like 2 red and a green. You tap all that mana, add all that mana to your mana pool, sacrifice all of it, and then bring it back with Crucible of Worlds, and you take 1 life for each land that you play extra. So you're basically gaining 1 life each time you're doing this, and adding however much mana you're tapping. So it's just infinite cruelty, and then into a grapeshot, you know, with the storm and ridiculousness. I mean, it's got a lot of mana producers like Seething Song, Brightstone Ritual, Rite of Flame, just for those, you know, what if, and the skirk prospector fecundity combo. Basically, the sacrifice a goblin, adding 1 red to your mana pool, drawing a card. And the good thing about this deck is that it's not all revolving against the Zuran Orb, Crucible of Worlds fecundity combo. Thank God, because you can win any way possible. Like, you can legitimately win with tokens, because your Goblin Warchief gives them all haste, and you have like 1 billion out, because you played a ridiculous amount of spells and sacrificed a lot of creatures. So you play 10 spells, and you sacrifice, and you just keep doing that, and you empty the warrens for 20, and you have Goblin Warchief out, and you get infinite, you can attack them for 20. You know, turn 2, turn 3, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna hold up against that much of damage. I mean, they can only block 1 creature or 2 creatures, however many creatures they want to block. But mana producers are the Rite of Flame, Brightstone Ritual, Seething Song, like I said before. The Goblin Matrons are a perfect card because you can either search for a Goblin Matron, or the Skirk Prospector, or the Goblin Sharpshooter, Goblin Warchief, Warren Instigator. Oh, now that I said Warren Instigator, I moved on a little bit ahead. I'm gonna explain some new cards from the newer sets, like the rootbound crag. You know, play it if whenever it enters the battlefield. If you control a forest or a mountain, it doesn't tap, and it's tap, add red or green to your mana pool. And then I put a kazandu refuge. It's good with fastbond because you don't lose a life. Because whenever it comes into play, you gain a life. And if you have fastbond, then you would lose the life and then gain a life, so you're not losing anything. And some good things in here are the grapeshot, the storm for the grapeshot, and the storm for the empty the warrens. And we have our 2 what if cards, the goblin sledder / goblin sharpshooter. With the goblin sharpshooter, you're basically sacking a creature, untapping it, and you're constantly tapping to deal 1 damage and constantly sacrificing creatures for infinite. It's ridiculous. And the goblin sledder, it's basically the same thing, but instead of doing 1 damage, you're doing +1/+1 counter on a creature. And if you have goblin warchief out, the better. The worn instigators I put in here from the new set, thought they would be helpful. They are. They're good for turn 2 goblin matron, goblin sharpshooter, and then search for either a skirk prospector and a goblin warchief, or a skirk prospector and a goblin sledder, whatever floats your boat. But I'm going to include the deck list. The deck list will be on the side under the info. And this deck runs 21 mana base, 10 of its mountains, 5 of its forest, 4 of its kazandu refuge, and 2 of it is rootbound crag. You know, I decided that, you know, dual lands are very expensive. I know this deck is still really expensive, but it's less expensive. It's not like $300 like it's supposed to be. But you know, I figured out after playtesting it hundreds of times that you don't need the dual lands as much as what you think you'll need it, especially with fastbond out, because you're just gonna keep constantly bringing out lands. So if you draw a card, or if you draw a land, you're not screwed, because you can just play it and just take the life. You know, you have 20 life. What is there to risk whenever you're just gonna basically mill through your entire deck to kill them this turn anyway? So drawing a land doesn't suck. So you're not like, oh damn, I just sacrificed this token into a land and went into my mana pool. Okay, so I'm gonna play this land, and that's 1 extra land for just in case I draw a skirk prospector and only have 1 land. Or you have a skirk prospector and a rite of flame, and then you can play the skirk prospector, or you can rite of flame, skirk prospector, still 1 in your mana pool, or however many due to the amount of rite of flames that you played. But it doesn't really matter. You know, this deck works out perfectly the way that I wanted it to do. You know, there's the turn 2, turn 3 win. It always wins against elf grenade. Elf grenade is gay. Goblins are better. Elf grenade is really, really gay, but this deck definitely beats elf grenade because this deck wins. I've never lost an elf grenade, even though I've played like 4 or 5 variants of it. Even with the Crucible of the World zuran or fastbond combo, I grapeshotted for their infinite life, basically. I grapeshotted for all of it. So, you know, and usually elf grenade would go off a turn after Dirty Kitty does. So you don't even have to worry about them beating you with this amazing combo, 1,000 elves out at once, and then the freaking roar of the crowd, and you're like, dude, this is homosexual. Or that one giant that tap deal 2 damage to target creature or player. But that's besides the point. This deck is just running exactly the way it needs to, and yeah, so if you have any questions or any concerns, or you know, you think the deck could work better in a certain way, please do, you know, respond to this, make a video or text response, and let me know. Thank you, and this is Dirty Kitty.